What's up, guys? My name is George Brooks, and I'm one of the founders here at Crema. And if you've been watching our channel for a while now, you've been hearing about the story of Vera. Vera is one of our products to come out of Venture Lab, which is a time where we take all of our billable time and we dial it down every other Friday to work on education, innovation, new projects, new ideas, and occasionally we try to build some products that maybe we can launch to the world. Vera is one of those products. If you want to hear the background story to Vera, be sure that you go check out our previous videos where we unpacked where Vera came from, the idea from it, how we designed it and branded it, how we built it, and even how we use things like feature sprints to unlock ourselves to figure out how to move forward. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a different direction. We're going to look at how we tell the world that Vera exists. So we're going to talk about marketing your product. But before we do that, make sure you give us a big like and push that button down below. And then make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can get more information about how we build products and think about crafting product teams to help individuals and companies thrive. With this episode, Gabby, how are you?
Thank you, George. Thank you for that lovely intro.
I try. You know, we try to be welcoming. We probably try to make people feel comfortable, and we try not to get their names wrong. I think that's pretty much. But that wouldn't happen. Why would that happen? Welcome to the show. I want to talk to you a little bit today. You've been on the Vera team for a while now. What kind of maybe tell me a little bit. What drew you to Vera, and what was it like joining up with one of the Venture Lab teams?
Yeah, what kind of drew me to Vera was just that they're all about plant care. And I thought that was something that was really booming right now. I mean, in general, plants are growing exponentially right now. You see it all over Instagram. You see it all over articles. It's just a big thing right now. And so I saw the most potential with that one. And I also just really enjoyed the team. They already had that dynamic when I joined because I joined 6 months after they launched. And they did rebrand after I joined. So it was cool getting there. Yeah. So I was there from the very beginning whenever they changed their name, they sort of changed the MVP, and it was really cool getting to be involved in those really early processes. So like the feature sprint we did with Justin, the lean model canvas, even coming up with the name, I got to be involved from the very beginning, which really helped with the buy-in and me feeling that ownership of the app. So I think it was really great for our team that from the get-go, we were all kind of on the same page about what Vera was going to be and what our goals were.
You were there really at that identity crisis point when they were kind of going, do we still want to do this? What is it? There's other apps like this in the world. Why should we even be here? Even one that has the same name, the previous name. And so now you were really with them through a crucial time of pivoting and kind of relaunching, if you will.
Yeah. You guys, I think, discussed it in other videos, but it started out as like basically a hardware piece. Was a big component of what Vera was. And so I joined after the hardware, but I got to see during that 6 months, those demos of them sort of showing off what the product was. And so I knew sort of where they were at, which is nice that we have the demos, is that I get to see the progress along the way. But Vera completely changed, or Happy Plant as it was before, completely changed after the rebrand.
Okay. So you're not working on Vera most of your week or most of your professional time at Crema. Normally, you're with the growth team working on talking about Crema. Yeah. What is it like, different than, marketing a big professional premium services company versus a consumer mobile app? Tell me about those differences. What's it like marketing something like that?
Yeah, I will say it's a lot more kind of rewarding doing marketing for Vera just because that payoff is so immediate. So as soon as we launched the app, it's been 6 months since we launched, and we're up to 75,000 users.
Right.
It's very rare that you see that kind of success with B2B marketing like we do.
Yeah.
So it was really fun getting to interact with the users themselves. Where I am right now with there's a sales team that's kind of the gatekeeper, and I don't really talk very much with the clients. The PMs are a lot of times doing that in the sales team. But with Vera, I was kind of the one on the ground in the roots with the users on Reddit or in the Apple Play Store, just kind of, seeing what features they wanted and actually getting to speak with them. Yeah. So I think that's a big differentiator.
So you touched on a couple different things there, and I think I want to dive into that, kind of the strategies that you're using, but that you're getting to both not only tell the world about Vera, but also engage with that world personally. I think that if anybody's been interacting with Vera, likely they're interacting with you because you're doing a lot of the response to I know to reviews and to feedback and et cetera. And then the team is taking and doing, future development or product pivoting with that information. What are some of the strategies that you're using on Vera to help, promote it and get it out there?
Yeah, I would say a big one we're doing right now is reputation management. That's what takes up a lot of my time right now, is just going in, responding to those reviews. We used to make a joke that like every time someone asked for a fertilizer reminder, we would take a shot. We didn't because it was a work day, but it was one of those things where, we were getting that so often that, I was responding. We want to respond to every request and everything, right. Every feedback that people have. So we were really in the weeds doing that. That was a big part of our strategy. And a lot of it too was at the very beginning, SEO actually, and getting referral links. And so my background is actually in search engine optimization, which is basically trying to get Google to rank your website so that you show up in search results. And then referral traffic is just kind of seeing who is currently ranking for those keywords and then trying to get them to link out to your article. And so we actually did that through Opus Grows, which is a fertilizer company. We use a tool called SEM Rush, and it tells you how many people are searching for certain keywords throughout the month. And so we were able to use that data to pinpoint a particular blog post that was ranking really well for those keywords and getting a lot of traffic. And from there, I was able to reach out and say, hey, is there a way we could partner up? Could you link out to our app? You mentioned a different water reminder app in your article, but could you link out to us instead? And then from there, could we maybe feature your product on our website? So they are featured on our website right now. We made sure that they're a good product before we put them out there, but they're very in line with our branding. And I think right now we get 80% of our traffic to our website just from that referral link.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think what's really interesting about that is that's not just, I think people think about marketing as either buying ads, or which really is more advertising, but buying ads, pay-per-click. They think about it as maybe writing articles, doing what we do, which is post videos. But what you're really talking about is a collaboration, a partnership, a relationship with someone to have a two-way win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I think that's been really cool is with our user base, they are so passionate about plants. And honestly, they're passionate about Vera. So it's been really cool seeing their passion through the feedback they provide for us. We probably get 10 emails a day. As we've scaled, it's gotten a lot bigger, but we get so much feedback about the app. And like I kind of mentioned earlier, even going into Reddit and just seeing how we're being talked about there and interacting in those conversations. And so
go into that a little bit more. Reddit. Okay. So I think of Reddit for a whole different purpose, but I forget that it has these sub channels about any topic possible. Tell me about did you post something on Reddit, or did you participate with the conversation on Reddit? What was getting involved in Reddit like?
Yeah, so actually our developer, Louise, we have a Slack channel where we kind of share, hey, look, Vera got a shout out on this blog post or on this Instagram post. And so Louise is actually the one that found it. And this was probably 2 months ago at the very beginning of when Vera was taking off. Yeah. And so I was able to go in and sort of see what people were saying about us, what features they were requesting. And really what Vera did was fill a gap in the market for people who wanted a plant care app, but who had Android devices.
Oh,
because
right.
we do have Planta, but which is only available on Apple devices.
Yeah.
So the thread itself was basically about, hey, can anyone recommend a plant care app for Android specifically? So we were able to go in and be like, hey, it's me from Vera. And literally no other plant care apps on the market are doing that. They're not really in the weeds interacting with their users the same way we are. Yeah. And so from there, you can just go on Reddit and you can search Vera plant care app or Vera app, and I can see all the threads where people were talking about us, and then going in and like making note of the feature requests, kind of seeing what the consensus was among our user group who are really active on Reddit. It's kind of a younger audience. And so that was really cool for me, just getting to see what people were saying, and for the team as a whole.
What I love about what you're talking about there is that when you think about telling the world about an app, it's so easy to just go, I just need to post it someplace and let it happen. But you're talking about truly serving your customers, listening to them, which is, everybody talks about doing, but not very many people follow through to actually do it. And you guys have just organically stepped up and said, no, we're going to do what we can to figure out what they want, what they need, how can we serve them, and continue to engage.
Yeah, you're 100% right, George. I mean, something really smart that I think we did at the beginning was competitor research. So you think about all the data that's public right now. So there's tons of plant care apps that are on the market. Not all of them are great, but all of them have reviews. They have feedback. So even just going through and seeing what are people requesting from other apps, and how can we include that, maybe not in our MVP, but in future updates. And so using that information to sort of make our app better was really, really helpful for us from the very beginning.
And I know that even since then, you've seen, I've been watching your Instagram channel. And so you end up, other people are talking about you now. So you're, again, even that Reddit link was someone else talking about you. And then you did a partnership agreement with the fertilizer company, but now you're starting to see that organic conversation take place. People are writing blogs about you. People are mentioning it everywhere else.
Yeah, I actually was just in our Google Analytics today, and I noticed that we're getting a ton of organic traffic where we weren't before. And that is from people actually searching for Vera app, Vera plant care app Vera. So it's really cool to see the word of mouth, spreading just from the whole plant care community. I even have a friend in England who had downloaded Vera, not knowing that I was part of the team. So it's really awesome. Our audience isn't just the US. We actually have a really big audience in South America and the UK and Canada. And even when I'm responding to reviews, if someone leaves a review in Spanish or in Portuguese, I try to respond in their native language. So I pull in Louise or I pull in Pamela.
I was going to say, do you know all those languages?
No, I do not. I know gracias, but
There you go.
That's kind of the limit. We want to be more thorough with our responses.
Of course.
So I think that's something that really sets Vera apart, is just our intentionality behind how we're responding to reviews and feedback. And it's going to be interesting to see how that adjusts as we scale. Because like I said earlier, we're growing so fast, but our team is still the same size it's always been.
Yeah, of course.
So
what are other strategies? So we talked a little bit about partnerships. We talked about the fact that people are writing blogs about you. What are other places that you're experimenting with to try to get the word out?
Yeah. So actually just last week, we put in a request to be entered into an award, the Fast Coat Innovation by Design, actually. Yeah. And so that's a really thorough process. Like, they kind of weed out people who aren't serious about it, but getting something like that sort of recognition would be really big for us. Yeah. And we're hoping to use that as a stepping stone to maybe get featured on, the Apple Store or even on Product Hunt. There are these bigger publications that we want to be featured on, but it is kind of hard getting your foot in the door with them. And you kind of have to have recognition from an outside source first.
Yeah, because a lot of those have a gatekeeper where it says you can't self-promote. This has to be something where the community thinks there's something great here.
Yes, exactly. And I think we have some really big goals for this year. We're really hoping to see growth. And we're hoping that with that growth, we do see more people reaching out to us and asking if, they can interview us about Vera. That's really the hope, is that we're not really begging for blog posts or anything like that people really want to hear about our team and what we're doing.
Yeah. And what's incredible is organically something that's happening. And then also under the surface, you're planting seeds, right? No pun intended, actually. But you're actually planting seeds that you're watering to kind of get the audience involved and help them to know about the long play, which is something you have a lot of familiarity with Crema, because we're planting long-term seeds, because a lot of our conversion happens over a 3, 6, 9, 12 months investment, where you're seeing seeds that are growing over the course of weeks or days. Yeah. What's something, we always have to go there sometimes, but what's something that you guys have tried that maybe just didn't work as well as you had hoped it would?
Yeah. So I would say at the very beginning, we understood that Instagram was going to be a huge platform for us. There's already Monstera Monday hashtags. There's also Plant Mama. It's a huge audience there. Yeah. And so we knew we needed to be involved from the very beginning. So we do have an Instagram account for Vera where we do try to share out people who, mention us on their stories. We add that to our highlights. We had early on a plan to reach out to a lot of influencers on Instagram and ask them to sort of, just try out Vera, not even promote it, just try it out. And we had some success from smaller accounts, like 2,000 followers, but the big guys didn't really bite. And I think a lot of that was just not having a huge budget. Right. And we don't have a marketing budget because our app is free. We want, people to be able to use it no matter what their economic status is. But it does make it difficult from a marketing perspective to get influencers to want to promote your product when you can't really offer them anything in return. But we have seen it grow a little bit. Luckily, we have a great product and we have a great user base. So they've really gotten the word out just through word of mouth. But that was kind of one thing that was a bit of a struggle for us at the beginning, hoping to try again in the next month or so and see if more people are interested in sharing out Vera.
Yeah. What else? I'm kind of curious, because I think that's a great example. And honestly, it's a restriction that we've, as leadership at Crema, we've kind of put on you to say, hey, we're not opening the floodgates yet to just say, go spend like crazy. Let's make sure that we're actually figuring out what sticks. And we are starting to see some of that. So the opportunity to dial up is very real. What else have you tried that you went, oh man, that just not right now, or that's not who we are maybe?
I think it's not necessarily that this hasn't worked, but our reputation management, just with responding to emails and with reviews, has been really difficult. I think a lot of people don't understand that we're only doing this every other Friday.
Right.
And it's difficult for us to stay on top of all of the feature requests and it's tricky with bugs too, because we're on all devices and we're releasing updates very often. So our test engineer has a really tough time staying on top of all those bugs. And that's where I kind of come in and I try to respond to the reviews and make sure people feel heard. Yeah. Because obviously the last thing we want is for people to delete our app after they download it. We really want that retention with Vera. And so I would say it's been tricky staying on top as we scale with all of the reviews and all of the emails. It's a team effort really, but I think we've even talked about, bringing someone on to just help with that task so I can focus more on marketing. But we also understand the importance of the reputation management.
So you pointed out something really clear there. For anyone who's building a mobile app, especially a cross-platform mobile app, a couple things to learn, and we talked a little bit about this with Louise, but it's one thing to actually get your app into both stores. It's another thing to support all the devices and the different operating systems that they might be on and the different versions, different sizes, et cetera. Because we know that the lion's share of our users are having a great experience, but there has been some issues on very specific devices, on very specific operating systems, and troubleshooting those and trying to figure out with thousands of different devices, primarily on Android, because Android has so many different places it's installed, versus iOS has a bit more of a lockdown environment that allows you to know most people are going to be on the most recent device in OS. That's a challenge. I mean, there's a reason why most of these apps are only in the iOS store and not in Android, because Android's hard to maintain.
It really is, yeah.
So what ends up taking up most of your time? You kind of hinted at it a couple times, but what's the thing that kind of like, wow, I was not anticipating that this eats up all of my Lab Friday?
Yeah, I would say that in the very beginning, it was really hard for us to procure images for our Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really interesting because our app, part of the component of it is just people uploading images to their profiles. And so right now we're trying to figure out a way where we could somehow reach out and ask them if we can use their pictures for our Instagram. Yeah. But that was just kind of a struggle for me in the very beginning, was just like, okay, we've tapped out all of our resources. Like I have plans I could take pictures of and our team has plans, but eventually you kind of hit a roadblock because people who are posting about plants on Instagram are posting 3-4 times a day. And it's really hard to keep up with them. And it's really hard to grow your audience too when there's so much chatter. There's so many people posting plant photos. So it's kind of like, how do you stand out among the crowd? Yeah, totally. So that was definitely sort of something that took up a lot of time for me, was just procuring those pictures for Instagram. And now it's kind of been responding to the reviews and responding to the emails has been very difficult. Yeah. But I really like it because it makes me kind of feel or like be aware of what people are asking for, what the sentiment is about our app as it's grown, if there's a lot of bugs popping up. So then I'm able to convey that to the team. We use Jira to catalog all of our feature requests. And so I go in there and I make sure those are transferred over. And then from there, our PM kind of goes through those and our developers pick out which ones are the most important or the ones that are occurring the most frequently. And then we focus on those for our next update.
But you're the front lines of that. You're really the one that's interacting with most of those users on that feedback loop. Yeah.
You'd be surprised how nice people are, though. I mean, there's like a couple people who are, very picky about what they want from a free app. But you're right. For the most part, it's really people, leaving positive reviews. We have actually seen a bit of a decline in the last month. And that is because our user base is growing. There's a lot more devices that are being used. There are some issues with notifications, and we're not as transparent with our FAQ section as we should be. It's currently on our website, but we're going to add it into the app, I believe, so that people, if they're having issues getting notifications, can really easily access that from the app itself.
But I think, again, that's a perfect example of something that you could have stopped yourself not releasing the app because it's like, oh, we got to get FAQ and it's got to be there. Yeah. But that iterative release and listening and providing support and hearing the fact that, like, okay, yeah, you were a 4.8 star app and now it's dropped on the apps, or I think the Google Play Store has come down a little bit. and you're hearing them, you're addressing the fact that notifications is something you're trying to fix. And it's a struggle because certain devices don't want you to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, again, it's all about that feedback loop, which I think you guys have nailed, even within the constraints of not much time to be able to work on it.
Right.
Okay, what are you most excited about in the future, the coming future for Vera, where you guys are going next?
I wish I could like reveal what we're going to be like planning for the app, but I'm going to try to be like kind of secretive about it. But I will say there is a feature that we've gotten a lot of requests for and that is not available on any other plant care app. And the goal is to have that released this year. And I think it would really grow our user base, and it's going to be something that's really helpful for people. So I'm excited for our new features that we're launching.
I don't even know what that is. You've like, oh, I'm on that little cliffhanger there. I like that.
Yeah, I can't reveal in this video because I don't want another app to steal it. But yeah, it's something our developers are working very hard on. Something else that's really exciting for me is that the plant industry is just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And there's so many directions Vera could go in. We've had people ask for like a social feature, so almost like an Instagram, but just for plants. We've had people ask for kind of a community thread where you could ask for plant care tips. We've thought about integrating tips into the app itself. I know Planta, a competitor of ours, they have that sort of built into their app, and it's something we don't have right now. But even just like to see all the features, all the potential of it is going to be so amazing. And it makes my job so much easier because it's easy to market a great product. And I can just see Vera going so high with this.
So good. So good. I love your passion. I love the fact that you've gotten to kind of stretch yourself creatively. And, a consumer app does have, we talk a lot about this. There's something really exciting about building a consumer experience, something we don't often get to do here at Crema. Most of the work that we do is B2B software for enterprise companies or for scaling startups. But building a consumer app allows you to engage with an audience in that really rapid feedback loop and get to listen to a lot of people. And if you do have a passionate, group of users, it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah. And I mentioned this earlier, George, but I think it's so helpful that from the very beginning, we did that feature sprint where we were all in a room together and we all made decisions. We had a decision maker, which was Pamela, the product owner, but she listened to the feedback all of us had, and we were all invested from the very beginning. And I think that gives us just this sense of ownership over Vera, and just like, we really want it to be successful, not just like for Crema, but for ourselves. I've told my friends about Vera. I've, written some of the blog content on the website. We're all just really excited about the potential, and we just feel very proud of it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, I am so excited to see where Vera goes from here. I might have to, as soon as we hang up on this, I'm going to ask you what about that feature is. And so everyone else will have to wait. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing a little bit about how we're telling the world about Vera, how we're supporting those existing users, and the passion that you guys have for it. Just super cool. Love it. As always, thank you so much for watching our videos here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't checked us out on Instagram or our podcast, which is option 5, check us out on all of our other platforms. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you give us a like. That really does help the algorithm know that we want to give you more content. We want the world to know that technology, design, and culture can help individuals and companies thrive. And Veras are definitely doing that right now. So thank you guys for watching. Gabby, thanks for joining me today.